If a man too often thinks of sex, it's a sign that he has. Psychologists often say that a man's sexual thoughts are not just random fantasies, but reflections of his biology, psychology, and social environment. When a man thinks too often about sex, it can actually be a sign of several underlying human tendencies that are deeply connected to both health and psychology. First, frequent sexual thoughts are a clear indicator of high testosterone levels. Testosterone is the primary hormone linked with sexual desire in men. Studies show that men with higher testosterone naturally report stronger urges, more frequent sexual fantasies, and a stronger drive toward intimacy. It does not always mean something is wrong, it can be a sign of a biologically healthy reproductive system. Second, constantly thinking about sex may suggest that the man has an active imagination and heightened sensitivity to emotional or physical stimulation. The brain's reward system connects sexual thoughts to dopamine release, which creates a cycle where the mind returns to those thoughts for pleasure and stress relief. Third, it can also reflect unmet emotional or physical needs. If a man is not in a fulfilling relationship, or if he lacks emotional closeness, his brain may channel that energy into frequent sexual fantasies as a substitute for intimacy. In this case, sex becomes more about seeking comfort and connection than just physical release. Fourth, psychologists explain that men who often think of sex may be more prone to novelty-seeking behavior. This means they are curious, adventurous, and excited by new experiences. Sex represents one of the strongest biological rewards, so the mind returns to it again and again when it craves stimulation. However, too much focus on sex can sometimes signal underlying issues like stress, anxiety, or even addictive tendencies. When sexual thoughts begin interfering with work, relationships, or daily peace of mind, it may reflect compulsive behavior that requires healthier coping mechanisms. For women observing this, it is important to remember that a man's frequent sexual thoughts don't always mean he is unfaithful or unable to love deeply. Often, it is simply the natural rhythm of male psychology and biology. In fact, many men who think often about sex still value emotional bonding, loyalty, and deep relationships just as strongly. In conclusion, if a man too often thinks of sex, it is a sign of high biological drive, strong imagination, emotional needs, and sometimes stress or anxiety. Understanding this side of human psychology helps women and men alike recognize that sexual thoughts are part of the complex human mind, not always a problem, but a mirror of both nature and nurture working